Welcome to the Seattle Sports Union podcast. I am your host, Brian the Soulman Solack. Today we have our special guest from the world of pro wrestling, our one and only Coach Mike Jones. How you doing, buddy?
Hey man, thanks guys. I'm doing great here in the Northwest, Puyallup, Washington, coming at you live. It's a beautiful day out here. Going to be going out enjoying the sun, getting some exercise later, and doing some fun stuff later too.
Outstanding. Last time we had John was about a year ago, and Abraham and I were just talking. And long story short, we all connected, and it's great to get you back on again, man. It's been too long. We got to do this more often.
Exactly. Yes, we're talking about doing a Christmas special. We might as well just confirm that right now, right?
Yes, we'll get that in the books for sure, for sure.
Exactly.
Hey, what's that shirt you're wearing? Tell our audience what that shirt.
Turnbuckle Turmoil, man. They're one of the longest reigning podcasts in the world. I mean, they've been going like 13 years with like 1,900 shows. And I've been blessed to be a co-host on there with my buddy Sign Guy I've been a co-host now for 2 years. And man, I'm really enjoying it. And then Sign Guy ended up helping me get my own show. So now I've also had my own show, the Coach Mike Jones Show podcast, for over a year. And we just had our second annual show with the Seattle Sports Union last week. And those are always like my favorite shows because sports means a lot to all of us and we take this stuff seriously. So we decided we're giving ourselves grades and we all went with it and it turned out pretty good.
That was really cool. I liked how you went over our last show and you brought up our predictions and we went over them and saw how well some of us did and saw how well our producer Abraham did. So
yeah, and then it looks like even we all know that geez, we got to stay sharp and keep sharpened up.
Absolutely. All right, I want to go ahead and get started here. Pretty much based off your background, Coach, what suggestions would you give a new wrestler getting into the business today? Like if I wanted to get into the business, what would you tell me?
Well, I would hope that they would have started off early, like, Boys and Girls Club, wrestling, and then, progressed as they went with other sports. And, of course, people tend to dabble and elevate towards judo, karate, MMA, other forms of martial arts, along with the collegiate style of wrestling. And then continue all the way through junior high and high school. And then from there, definitely study it, study the history of wrestling and the wrestlers in your area. And then what's going on now. And it's pretty obvious. Like right now wrestling is really booming, man. And wrestling's like anything else in life. It goes up and down. And this is definitely one of the top upflows of wrestling, and you can tell by the amount of talent that's came up in the last 5 years, like people like Darby Allin and stuff. He's came from this area. His first matches was in Washington. Sign Guy had refereed Darby Allin's first match in Washington. Yes, my co-host from Turnbuckle Turmoil is also a referee in the area, and he even wrestles once in a while, and he's done some MMA, so he's earned his name, Sign Guy, yeah. Oh, but the other suggestions, like I say, so from there, once you study it and look out what's going on currently, then you can check into the schools that are around there. And there's some really good schools in the Northwest here, the Buddy Wayne Academy, SOS Academy in Tacoma. There's a Dragonplex Dojo up towards Everett up there. And there's Oregon Wrestling School, I think it is. There's a bunch of good schools in this area. So if you find a good school, that's where you can start off right there. And then hopefully if you find one of those schools, for sure you're in, as in if you do everything they say. They've turned out a lot of good talent. So that's my suggestions.
Okay. You mentioned the Buddy Wayne School. His son, Nick Wayne, got a contract with AEW at the age of 16. I believe he's 18 now, and he's on live television every week wrestling with his buddy Darby Allin, and he's some days, weeks he's been getting his, butt whipped, and other weeks he's getting the victory. I mean, tell me a little bit about his father and and his background, and does his son have a chance?
Oh my goodness, his son looks like he's like better than his dad ever was, I mean, and yes, I was there like when he on a show in Paulsbo for SCW when his son showed up at like 10 years old along with his dad, and they did wrestling, and he's out there doing. They had him doing a few moves in the match too, so you could tell right about then that something was going to be up with this kid, and he did not disappoint. And then Moondog Moretti is his uncle, and he's a legend in the Northwest, and man, I have the honor to having a victory over Moondog Moretti in about my sixth match at my hometown arena, the South End Boys and Girls Club in Tacoma, Washington. I got to wrestle Moondog Moretti, and I got a victory out of that in 18 minutes when he walked off. So I got an 18-minute count-out victory over Moondog Moretti, which is one of my toughest matches ever. And then check this out. I had a whole section of fans, right? He threw me out the ring into my row of fans, which happened to land center of my row of fans, which my son was there, right? Mm-hmm. So he basically pushed my son out of the way, grabbed my son's chair, hit me with the chair in front of him, and he traumatized my son. My son broke up in tears right there. His mom was in the other section. So his mom fixed the deal by his mom walked over and walked him off. Oh, that was a rough match. Moondog he's one of the toughest wrestlers of all time too. So, so that got the heat in that match. So I'm really proud of that. But yes, Nick Wayne, there's no doubt he's a shooting star. I mean, you see his matches against Will Ospreay and some of the greats in wrestling he's not disappointing. He's holding his own with those guys. So there you go.
That's awesome. That's exciting. I like watching the kid. I mean, more probably because he's from the Northwest, but I'm so excited for him and what his future beholds.
And then, yes, I actually didn't even answer the question. You asked me about his dad. Okay, now let's check out his dad. Okay, look at this deal. Okay, I think I told you guys in your past shows, but let's remind the fans that I wanted to get in when I was 18. I called up Don Owens in Portland. He had one question for me when I said I want to try out for wrestling. I said, I've been wrestling my whole life. I said, I can beat most of these guys. I said, I want to try out. He had one question for me. I didn't know it was one question until I found out. He goes, did you wrestle in college? I said, no. He goes, click. He didn't even ask me any questions. Look at all these baseball players that are coming out of high school,
Yeah.
But the point was it was harder to get in than when I was 18. That was in 1983. And anyway, I finally got a tryout with Playboy Buddy Rose in when was that? When I was like 30 years old. That was in 1995. I got a tryout with Playboy Buddy Rose to get me into the business, And then there was... Oh, actually, now let's go back to 94. I lived in Tacoma, Washington. That's where I grew up. And I went to Lincoln High School. And then I lived like a mile from Lincoln High School. And I'm a single parent bringing up two kids. And so next thing you know, I see a flyer for wrestling at Lincoln High School. And it's Debashi's Wrestling League. But he's got all the Northwest greats. Playboy Buddy Rose, Moondog Moretti, Billy Two Eagles, Buddy Wayne, Mean Mike Miller. There's a few other good wrestlers that he had on that show. But the point was the main event that I got to see that night was unbelievable. It was Buddy Wayne versus Billy Two Eagles. And these guys were like killing themselves and going all over the place. And they did the deal where Buddy Wayne cross body blocked him off the top onto the basketball floor, doing moves like that. There's no pads out there, and you're like, what the hell? This is totally real. And it was amazing, that match. And then on March 16th, 1996, I debuted against Billy Two Eagles, the Northwest Indian legend, and man, that was a tough match. He gives the hardest chops in wrestling, you know. And after that match, he goes, "Don't ever let anybody say that you can't wrestle." That's because he says I can, because he knew that I passed the test by wrestling a good match with him. So
Okay.
yes, but Buddy Wayne, and then other Buddy Wayne stories. He'd have legendary matches with this guy named Samito on our shows here in the Northwest. And then I even got to be. I have footage of a situation where Samito and Buddy Wayne's fight spilled into the crowd, and I got to do the separated them. And I'm in the middle of the fight of Buddy Wayne and Samito, and I was like, man, that meant a lot to me. I was a rookie. I was like, how did I get to do that?
That's awesome. Uh, to, today's wrestlers seem to have a varied background. Are there, in your opinion, are there particular sports teams that teams that they should focus on, or is diversity better for wrestling today?
Oh man, sports teams. It's like I wanted to do that years ago. I went and seen on a situation where I got to meet and greet with uh, the catcher for the Mariners. I just forgot his name immediately. Mike.
Oh, Zunino?
Nino, yeah. And I
Okay.
seen him. I was like, "Hey, Mike, I want to get you into wrestling." I'm like, "Dude, you are the guy." I'm like, "Every team needs an enforcer." I pick you, dude. And he's like, he sort of likes the idea, and he's from Florida where wrestling's really big, you know. And he's like, but
Okay.
his reply to that was, yeah, I sort of like it, but why do you pick me? So he said you should pick uh, uh, the guy from the Angels. Yeah, Mike. Goodness, I can't think of any names today.
Mike Trout?
Mike Trout. Yes. Goodness, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm really
That's
tired
okay.
today. I worked hard this week. Oh goodness.
No worries. Is diversity better for wrestling though?
Oh yes. And then always like since they had it in football, you know, with Wahoo McDaniel, Ernie Ladd back in the day, Mongo McMichael, which lots of prayers out for him. He's
Hmm.
like, it looks like he's on his deathbed. It looks like, you know. I don't know if you guys have seen or heard stories of Mongo
Yeah,
McMichael. Yeah, Rick Flair going to visit him and stuff.
that's sad.
Yeah, but and
Hmm.
then of course I liked it when Carl Malone and Rodman was in there. You know, they should have more hockey players in there.
That would be cool. That would
Yeah.
be cool. Um, I'm sure you had plenty of heroes growing up, but who's your favorite wrestling hero growing up?
Oh man, my heroes starting out, of course, was like Roddy Piper, and then Northwest Jimmy Snuka, and then it went on to be Mr. Wrestling 2, Jay Youngblood, um, you know, people like that, and then of course Tommy Rich, and you know, even Kevin Sullivan was a good guy back in the day. I really admired him, and then it was nice that he got to become my mentor for the last 10 years in my real school army here in the Northwest with some of the top talent in the world. So yeah, it's always been great.
I remember watching Kevin Sullivan on TV back in the '90s. What's he been up to? I mean,
Oh
tell me what
man,
he's been.
he's still out there today, man. He's been working on getting championship wrestling from Florida going back, and you know they're working hard on it. And then also he's doing some other projects too. Yeah, all over the country. He's nonstop. He
Okay.
just turned like 78 last year, and not he's going strong.
Is he? I have to ask: is he tough and mean like he looked on TV, or is he a teddy bear in real life?
Oh, as his partner, man, of course. Yes, he's a great guy to work with, and yes, he's a good guy to be around. But yeah, he can handle himself. Yes, definitely.
Awesome. Tell tell my Seattle Sports Union Nation about your self defense background. What any elements that help or hurt your wrestling style?
Oh, none of them. All of them helped. I figure my uh, suggestion for everybody years ago was everybody needs as much self defense as they can get, especially women. The more, the better. Every style helps. And my self-defense background was, of course, growing up with collegiate wrestling, like I said, the Boys and Girls Clubs. Then, of course, I started out with some karate, and then, of course, some judo, and then a little bit of boxing. And then, of course, I've done some amateur MMA. I'm 1-0 at amateur MMA versus one of the toughest wrestlers in the Northwest, Mike Santiago. He challenged
Oh,
me. He challenged me in 2010, and I beat him in a third round TKO at the Uncle Sam's Bar in Spanaway, Washington.
that's awesome. Is that on video anywhere?
It
I would
is.
love
It's
to
on
check.
YouTube. It's on YouTube.
Okay.
Coach Mike Jones versus Mike Santiago.
I'll have to check that out for sure. Um, Kids nowadays getting into wrestling compared to back when you were getting into it, do any of these kids face different challenges compared to what you had to go through?
Oh my goodness, the world's getting soft. You guys know that. It seems like
Yeah.
it's like goodness. How can they even have a match? So you're gonna hurt someone's feelings that they lost or something, or and then they got to make sure the guy gets a trophy when he's in 15th place. I mean,
Hmm.
goodness. I mean, I don't know. I just don't really agree with that part. And so,
Okay.
other parts of my self defense that I was proud of is having Stephen Bonner, who was one of my best friends, and having him up here in the Northwest for like 6 different seminars, and like 200 people came to his seminars, and they were blessed to be in his seminars. He's a UFC Hall of Famer, but man, unfortunately, he leaves our real school army on New Year or no Christmas Eve last year. We're on our way to the Bellevue Christmas parade, and I get a call that Stephen Bonner just died of a heart attack at 46 years old. So I was blessed to be able to be part of his seminars too, and I have a lot of that footage on tape that I haven't
Okay.
posted yet.
Oh, I'm so sorry. That's so young. Oh,
Man, the world is such a better place with him. He's such a smart person, such a good person, and man, I still pray for his family. He had
absolutely.
one son was like 8 or 9 years old. He was autistic, but man, Stefan would post videos of his son of how smart his son was. His son was like a genius, even though he was autistic. And
Hmm.
Stefan like proved it over and over. Like, okay, this is out of hand. This kid. There's nothing wrong with this kid. Look, he's exceptional. Look, and he would like show, and then boom, his kid would do some like crazy stuff. That
Yeah.
takes a takes a genius to do. This kid was just doing it easy. You know. So,
Hmm.
and it was just an example of the type of person Stefan was. Stefan made his son better. Uh,
Correct.
anyway,
Oh, wow.
back to your show.
No, I appreciate you sharing that story. I am sounds like a wonderful human being. Sorry about that. That's way too young. Way too
Yeah,
young.
yeah. And then, goodness, I mean, just like this week, Abraham, you were talking about Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt.
Hmm.
Is he on
Terry,
his?
he's in the background. You
Okay.
can't see him.
Oh, okay, I see.
Terry Funk. Were you a fan of his growing up?
Oh my goodness, of course, yes. I mean, from day one. I mean, back with his brawls with Dusty Rhodes and hitting each other with the cowboy boot and him calling Dusty Rhodes an egg sucking dog. And, oh yes, and then Chainsaw Charlie the whole way through. Him and ECW was just unbelievable. That was his resurgence. And
Hmm.
he never failed to entertain and disappoint. Uh, I got to meet him at Cauliflower Alley one year, sitting on the
Okay.
couch with Kevin Sullivan and Tokyo Monster. We're getting ready for Sin Bodhi to come pick us up to go to Freak Show Wrestling in California. And there goes Terry Funk walks by, and I'm like Star Trek struck, but I do manage to pull out, "Hey Terry, how you doing?" "Oh, I'm doing good." And walk by, and instantly I kicked myself in the butt for not saying, "Damn, you should have said to Kevin, hey Kevin, let me help me get a green room." Kevin could have said, "Hey Terry, why
Yeah.
don't you let him get a video real quick?" I'm sure Terry would have said yes. So I blew it, and just like man, check it out, I blew another viral chance the other day. Uh, my girl, man, she's such a sweetheart. She's such a cheap date. All she wants, Brian, is a taco. You know what I mean? So, I'm home from work tired, but we always do some sort of exercise or enjoy the nature. So she picks today. She wants to get a taco and go down to Frontier Park. We
Okay.
go down there. We eat the taco. Now I'm going to go wash my hands, go to the bathroom. All of a sudden, I heard a noise in the garbage can, and it's one of those like meshed garbage cans that have the grate on it. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
there's a squirrel stuck in there, and the lid shut of this garbage can, right? And I sort of freaked out at first because I'm like, dude, how are you going to get this out? The second you open that lid, this thing's going to crawl up you and bite your face, you know? That's my first thought, right?
Yep, yep.
And then so the next guy walks by, some old timer. I tell him, and he just sort of laughs, and he goes over and flips the lid, and the lid only goes halfway up.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, man, this lid's going to, or no, he can get out now, you know? I'm like, there's no problem. He can get out. But you realize he's just frozen on this grate. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Okay, now I'm committed too. And so I take it off for him, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, now he really can get out. Same, he didn't budge, right? I'm realizing, oh, goodness, I got to pull this garbage can out of here. There's my viral moment, Brian.
Exactly.
Why did I say to my girl, hey, Keith, film this? Because here's what happened, dude. I'm not kidding you, dude. But I still got a lot of good karma from it, I'm sure, because I saved the squirrel's life.
Definitely.
I took that garbage bucket, right?
Yeah.
And I went, I pressed it out that way, and it just happened to be perfect weight. So I was able to clear the deal, right? And pull it out. And it was like a bullseye. As the garbage can's here.
Yeah.
I went, whew, and then, whew, no less than 6.5 to 8 feet up, that squirrel launched out. Man, that would have been, I would have been on talk shows. I would have been on Animal Planet. But you know what? It's okay. I guess I'm not ready for that yet, right? And then I still got, my chances are still coming. Like, I'm not ready.
Exactly. Just you telling that story is a viral moment. That was quite entertaining.
Goodness, yeah, and that was just 2 days ago or something, you know? Like I'm only getting started, though, you guys. I'm telling you. I got my Real School Army versus the World Tour coming up soon.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I got, the greatest wrestlers in the world that has been in the Real School Army. Kevin Sullivan, Andrew Anderson, Tokyo Monster, Wes Briscoe, Andrea the Giant, Human Tornado, Funny Bone, a bunch of great independent wrestlers. And man, I just hope we can tour the world one day and help with lots of charities and do some food drives for all over the place. That's my goal one day.
Awesome. You mentioned the green room earlier too. Tell our fans a little bit about the green room, Coach.
Yeah, I got hundreds of interviews from wrestlers and celebrities from all over the world on the NGW Green Room on YouTube. Yeah, I was proud and honored. I got like 6 hours of interview with Pat O'Day, who died not too long ago, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame DJ, and a good friend of mine. I was proud and honored to be in his golf tournaments a couple times at the Friday Harbor up there. So I got a lot of interviews from a lot of local celebrities, Jim Moore and the Gras, and a bunch of people like that, Angie Mentig. And then, of course, I've got to be on Root Sports with Angie Mentig a couple times and Jen Mueller once myself. So, yeah, I'm really honored to be the producer of NGW Green Room and the Real School Army and for my Coach Mike Jones Show podcast.
Okay. Do you have a favorite interview that sticks out?
I love the stuff that me and Kevin Sullivan have done. Those are always fun. And of course the Jim Cornette's was fun. Got to do his at the Heroes and Legends in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay. So that was nice. Of course, Human Tornado, of course, is. Sin Bodie's interviews are always fun, and he's very entertaining. Then, of course, Jake the Snake. That's probably one of my all-time favorites. Yeah. Okay. He tells this clown Scorch that, what, you're going to bring your coach? That he's got news for us. So, yes, that was probably my all-time favorite. And then, of course, working with Jake and touring with Jake on the Jim Rose Circus versus Jake the Snake Roberts tour. That was fun back in the 90s, or not 90s, but 2010s.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Back to your wrestling career. Tell us one opponent that was really tough to beat or to put up with, or
Oh my goodness. I've wrestled Sam Houston at the Cauliflower Alley in Las Vegas. That was all three tough guys. Sam Houston, Chaz Taylor, and Warhorse. So that was really tough. It was me, Andrew Anderson, and Mustang Mike with Kevin Sullivan and Nyla Kennedy in my corner. And we won
okay.
that match. And of course, Sam Houston, man, I guess he just got out of prison or something. So that toughened him
Oh,
up a little, you know?
you would say so.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, you don't have to name names, but how do you deal with a wrestler, whether it was back when you were wrestling or when you're right nowadays, who doesn't know what they're doing or they're hard to work with? I mean, how do you put up with that?
Well, we've had situations in our league and then just being on shows, where wrestlers would flip out or something like that sometimes, or be too drunk or just do something stupid, or even
Yeah.
down to the point of sometimes the newer wrestlers get selfish and think it's about them and about getting their spots in rather than doing a match how it's supposed to be. And when a promotion gives you your orders to go out there and what they want to see, they'll normally give you instructions, even basic instructions like, okay, it's Brian versus Abraham. You guys got 8 minutes. And then
Oh,
sometimes they'll tell you, do whatever you want. Okay.
oh, okay.
And then so they trust you to go out there. You got 8 minutes. And then usually they'll make it clear too. That's your ring entrance time too. Oh,
Oh,
you want to be on the mic? And then sometimes when they say do what you want to do, I guess you could talk on the mic for 30 seconds, maybe.
hmm.
Or they'll clarify earlier in the show that only two people talk on the mic this show or something. But regardless, you got 8 minutes. So now you want to hurry up on your entrances. You don't want to be on the mic. You're not worried about trying to get your stuff in. You're trying to have a solid match. So the point to that was we had a rule. You go over your time, whatever. Guess what that means? That means I charge the ring with a chair, brother.
Ah,
And then it doesn't matter.
yeah.
8:01, the match has been declared over because I'm coming in with a chair to clear the ring.
Okay.
Okay. And if you make me do that, so be it. I'm coming in. And I had to do
Okay.
that like at least twice. Okay.
Oh,
And I look
wow.
at it as they made me. Just like same thing, like when I beat Mike Santiago in MMA, I'm not trying to promote that I'm this tough guy and I want to fight you. He
Yeah.
said he was going to beat my ass over something stupid. And then he showed up to the MMA show that I was promoting that we needed fighters for. So I said, hey, you still think you're going to kick my ass? He said, yes. So he made me kick his ass. Okay. I
Ah,
want to. Okay.
yeah.
So same thing with me coming in, clearing the ring with the chair. There you go.
Awesome. Awesome. I've never realized that. That's very cool. And did I see a video of you and Danny Bonaducci in the ring together? Or what
Well,
did
of
I
course,
see?
Danny Bonaducci accepted my challenge because I had a manager before called Johnny Fairplay, who's one of the famous guys from the Survivor Series.
Hmm.
Uh, and so Johnny Fairplay was my manager, and then Danny Bonaducci ends up knocking out Johnny Fairplay's teeth. So that means you're in trouble with me. Okay.
Okay.
So I challenged Danny, and Danny accepts my challenge in the video. Danny Bonaducci accepts Coach Mike Jones' challenge. Okay.
Hmm.
From there, he acted like he was going to do it like the first year or so, and then instantly he switched into, oh, call my radio station. And then they don't even really want to talk to you. They want you to pay to even talk to them and pay to do the whole thing. And then that's a far cry from when I'm at the Tacoma Dodge video and him accepting my challenge. And there's even additional videos that day of us, we did other green rooms that same day and then also talking about him accepting the challenge. But um, it just, I don't know, he just chickened out, basically, and now he's trying to act like he's too old. And then it's even like where Steve Harvey wants us to come on his court thing, and even
Okay.
offered to pay Danny up to $11,000. And then I even agreed to give Danny some of mine to help him go too, because I'm not all about the money. I'm about the promotion. And then
Yeah.
Danny still denied it. It's a weird deal. It seems like the Northwest media guys that they try to make themselves stars rather than the local people who could be stars. Like
Hmm.
someone like me, for example, Danny wants to hold me down too. He doesn't want me to get any publicity. He doesn't want to accept the fact that he accepted my challenge. He wants it to go away. You know,
Yeah.
it's sad. And he's all about money too. Why doesn't? Why doesn't he? All he has to do is go to Steve Harvey and say, "Look, I'm too old."
Yeah.
You know, whatever.
Oh, I'd love to see that on TV. That, oh, darn it.
Yeah.
That's
But yeah,
it's
I
gotta
recently did get an answer from him lately. His reply was, "Look, man, that was 10 years ago. I'm not interested." I'm like, come on. So I basically just quit talking to him for now. I'm still a huge fan of his. I love the Partridge Family.
I do. I am too. And then I listened to his radio show, and I know he had brain surgery
Oh, I
recently.
know. Goodness. And then, like 2 years in a row, he got deathly ill. And then
Yeah.
here's a weird thing. I didn't say nothing to him or Sarah about it, but this is pretty much accurate. Check this out.
Okay.
It's like a year ago when he was out for like 2 months from another that was a mysterious illness.
Yeah.
Uh, on his show, it was like on a Thursday or something. One of the things he said on that show was, "Man, I don't know. I could be dead tomorrow." And then like the next day, he was out of work and he didn't come back for like 2 months.
Oh
And I think
my.
that was weird that I wanted to say that to Sarah. Hey, Sarah, you need to go back and check Danny's last show and hear what he said. But
Yeah.
I didn't want to say, I haven't said that to her yet. It's really not important, but that is a true fact. I can tell you right now, you can look it up. It was like March 29th of 22,
Okay.
or in that, within a day or two of that date was that last show that he said that on before he became mysteriously ill for 2 months. Then recovered, and then this year something else happened where, like you said, he had a brain surgery and saved his life again.
Yeah.
Which that happened to Pat O'Day before he died. He had brain surgery. They took out a grapefruit-sized chunk out of his head, and what was happening was
Oh.
he lost his memory, and so he
Okay.
went to the doctor, and that's what they found at Pat O'Day.
Oh.
Yeah,
I
but
like him.
he had another 5 or 6 years after that, so that
Oh.
was that was cool.
Right on. Right on. Couple more wrestling questions. If you could go back in time and wrestle somebody from WWF or wherever, which wrestler would you pick and why?
Oh my goodness, that's hard to. Wow, maybe somebody like Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. He was really cool. He seemed like he would be fun to wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody like him, or maybe RVD.
RV. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
RVD.
in the more current times, it was nice to get to meet him a couple
Okay.
times at Cauliflower Alley last year and the time before. And I
Okay.
got a picture with him down there. Man, he's an impressive guy. I really enjoyed his career.
I love that. I got to do that again.
I
RVD.
know, huh?
That's cool, right? That would be fun to. I'd pay to see that. Right on. Right on. Uh, um, two-part question: worst injury you've ever sustained wrestling, and worst injury you've seen somebody else get hurt. If you don't mind sharing.
Um, I've been blessed to have no injuries my whole
Okay.
career. Okay, except for okay. When I say that, as I what I really mean is like no injuries in action. Okay, I did have a slight injury. I guess you can consider it an injury. I was doing a practice in my standing moonsaults, and I
Mm-hmm.
landed basically straight down and I moved my head. So when I landed, I guess I first hit one of my shoulders. I can't even remember which one it was. And I went from my max bench at the time was 300 and something to I was only able to bench like 100. But of course, I didn't miss a day of work or go to the doctor even over it. But it was a deal where I probably should have. And then at that time, I didn't even, I worked every day, but at a job that you had to pay for medical. So I wasn't going to pay for medical. So I didn't have medical. And I'm like, I can't afford to miss a day of work. I can't afford to go to the doctor. I can't afford to be hurt. I have to shrug this off and go to work. I did. And then it ended up healing. It took like a couple months though. So I guess that would be basically my only injury I had in my wrestling career. And then I've done construction my whole life and played sports my whole life, as in I played football all the way up through high school. The little bit of MMA, been wrestling for 25 years. And then I played baseball most of my life. And then, of course, softball when I started out baseball, ended up softball. I finished softball probably 15 years ago, and I'll be 59 in October.
Okay. How about grotesque injury of somebody else, like you were wrestling them and...
I seen a guy break his arm. He went for an elbow smash and missed and landed funny and dislocated his arm. And that wasn't fun to see. I seen a guy roll off the ring and make it have a big fall because there was like a big edge over there. It was on the ring was on stilts on that side because it was off of a stage. Mm-hmm. And the guy and then of course it's at a tavern, and then he was too drunk and thought he rolled off the right side. Mm-hmm. Didn't. That wasn't fun to see. He basically just had a concussion and some stitches, but still, it's like, oh goodness. Yeah. Then of course I seen a guy break his leg from, I guess Jeff Cobb threw this guy named Goblin off the ropes, and then did the drop kick on him off the ropes. But somehow I guess they were too close to the ropes, and Goblin got his lower leg broken. Match was over. Okay. Then of course he fell out of the ring. From there they both like sort of fall out of the ring or whatever, and then somehow Goblin doesn't even say nothing. Like, hey, broke my leg. Match is over. He throws him in the ring and finishes the match. I'm like, there's no reason to do that.
Dang.
Match is over, dude, immediately.
That's nuts. I guess when you were talking about insurance, you guys had to pay for insurance. Is that pretty much how it's been throughout wrestling, professional wrestling? You guys have to pay for your own insurance?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Definitely. The leagues don't help you. No, they don't help you with nothing really, except for sometimes travel.
Do they still do that nowadays? I mean, these guys are making millions and millions.
Oh, I'm not sure about the big leagues. I heard WWE has never done insurance. And
my gosh.
That's the biggest corporation. They don't have pensions, health insurance, union, nothing.
Oh my gosh.
And you hear about wrestlers trying to continue to start a union, but it looks like it's a long ways away.
Oh, okay. Would you start a union if you were still if you were wrestling there?
No, I'm not.
No,
that's a big task, right?
Yeah, true. But you're inspiring, Coach Mike. I could see you running a union.
Okay, well, all right, let's see. I love management. Yep.
Tell me about the day in the life of Coach Mike Jones. What you get up at 6? Or do you go for a walk? What do you do? I mean, how do you stay so young and fresh and energetic?
Oh, goodness. Well, I guess it's not a typical day, but I guess we can take a Sunday. That's probably my best day.
Okay.
Where, I'm going to try to sleep in that day. But, lately I've been getting up at 6:30 still to meet Wild Lyle down at Fitness Quest here in Puyallup so we can work out at 8 o'clock on Sunday mornings.
Okay.
That's not my choice to go that early, but I've been trying to do that with him. So we've been working out first, then coming home, getting a little bit of rest, and maybe going for a little walk with my girl, waiting to get on Turnbuckle Turmoil at 1 o'clock Pacific with Sign Guy and myself. We got what's her name, Madison on tomorrow. She's pretty big in the Northwest. Let me see. I got her name right here. Where is it? Sorry. Okay, it's taking me a second.
No problem.
Sign Guy. Murphy Madsen. She's a top local talent that she's making waves. She's on tomorrow on Turnbuckle Terminal at 1 o'clock Pacific. That's going to be great.
Okay, very cool.
And then let me see, back to you right there. Yep, cool.
How about do you eat healthy all the time?
I try to, yes, but I don't know. I've been lately going to acupuncture. I've overcome my fear of needles about a month ago and decided to try acupuncture, and it's been really great. So I go to acupuncture and massage the same day at the basically same session. And man, that's been helping a lot, and that's been helping open me up to better eating habits and better, they don't like you. They say that anything you do to put heat into your body causes your body temperature to be higher. That's why you're sweating all the time and stuff, and then you can't sleep as well, and your body has more inflammation. So if you boiled all your food and stayed away from fried foods and baked foods and stuff like that, boiling your foods is a lot more healthy.
Okay. I learned something today. I appreciate that. I've been thinking about acupuncture even, but I have that fear of needles. But
and then check it out. I didn't know until I admit even after I overcame that fear, because I've been crossing stuff off my bucket list in the last 10 years.
yeah,
And then I've been basically trying to do a deal where something extreme every year. Like it was the slingshot 2 years ago, for example. Of course, I would never do it. Even up until the day before, I wasn't going to do it. But that next day, I was like, man, I got to do the slingshot. It's like the last day of the fair or something that that's my extreme thing today or this year. So in 23, my extreme thing was acupuncture.
Okay.
But the point was I didn't learn until like the second session. One thing that makes it not hurt, all you have to do is keep your eyes closed and block it out, is they're tiny needles. They're not the same ones that are poked into your arm that sort of freaks you out.
Yeah, very much.
So they're like 3 times tinier, so you barely feel them.
Okay.
So that helps your fear go away too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good to know. I appreciate that advice. But before we wrap it up, let's talk Seattle Mariners. Since we talked to you last week on your show, the Mariners continue to win, and they're tied for first place. Give us your thoughts, Coach.
Man, I'm loving it. Logan Gilbert's 11-5 going into today. We got 3 pitchers on the top 10 in the Cy Young, Castillo and Gilbert also. That's impressive and bright for the future, and man, I'm really hoping for the best. It seems like their chemistry really switched up after that trade deadline that everyone should admit that most people were disappointed in our off-season performance of the general managers and the trade deadline performance. We were all like disappointed, but something happened, like they flipped like a switch, and it's been going. The chemistry's been great, and I'm hoping they can keep steamrolling that momentum.
Definitely. You think we're going to make the playoffs?
Oh, yes. I think we can actually, if we keep this momentum, we can go all the way.
Wow, that's
go for that. Yes,
it'd be nice to have us. It's been since the Seahawks making the Super Bowl years ago. We haven't really had a winning sports team here.
Yeah, and then man, the Seahawks, man, what about them? They're looking good, aren't they? I thought so.
Yeah, looking forward to the season coming up. As long as they can stay injury free, for sure, they're going to do pretty well.
Yeah.
How about? I've never really talked about college football. Do you watch college football much?
Not much. I do enjoy the Cougars and the Huskies, and it was nice to see they had some Cougars and Huskies out there making an impact in today's exhibition game for the Seahawks, right?
Yes, yes. Throughout the pretty much throughout the entire preseason, I've seen a lot of them, which is kind of cool. So
Yeah.
representing. Um, we unfortunately do got to wrap this up. We do a thing. I know you're familiar with. We do a thing called shout outs, person, place, or thing. Something that we're grateful for. Would you care to start us out with a shout out?
I'm so grateful for my girl Key. She's my whatever you call it. She's the lock that helps see my seams make me a better person and make me succeed and make me who I am. And just, if it wasn't for her, I don't know what I would do. So I guess she deserves all the shout outs in the world. Key, come here. Come here. And hold on a second. Come here. Here's my family right here.
Oh, hello.
There's Key and Stanley Dejo.
Nice to meet you.
We have a blast every day, exercising, going on walks and parks, and doing all kinds of, try to do different stuff and cross things off our bucket list, you know?
Very cool. Very cool. I appreciate you sharing that. Abraham wants to do a shout out to Terry Funk and Wyndham Rotunda, aka Bray Wyatt. They recently passed away in our professional wrestling, and Abraham's just really grateful for the many years that he got to saw them wrestle, and just want to give a shout out to them and to their families who lost a couple of great people there. So
definitely, especially Bray Wyatt with a wife and 2 kids. My goodness, it's tragic. Yes.
Very tragic. And I'm going to give a shout, since you brought it up, that I got to give a shout out to my wonderful wife Janine. I don't know where I would be without her either. We've been married 29 plus years and been together over 30 years, and I'm just very grateful, very lucky, and I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for her. So I love you, honey.
Nice. Hey, and let me not forget Officer Kevin Beretta from the Bellevue Police Department, who had a tragic accident. I guess he was on the Kamala Harris motorcade and got shot off the off ramp and flew off the freeway bridge 50 feet down, and he survived. A former professional wrestler that I've been blessed to be on shows with and have him in NGW in the past. He's at Harborview right now, Kevin Beretta, and he has a fund because he has 3 kids under the age of 5 years old, and he's married. And he was a great person, but he's in stable condition now, so that's a blessing. I'm very confident that's from all the prayers that he's had and the kind of guy he is.
Oh, that's awful. I hope, definitely prayers go out to him and his family. That's awful. Oh,
Well, not to mention being a professional wrestler, I'm sure helped him with that fall. My goodness.
really? Why do you say that?
Well, just he knows how to fall. He took all them falls. He knows how to tuck his chin. It's just automatic.
Okay. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, would you care to plug your social media again for us, Coach Mike, before you
Yes,
sound
you
off?
guys can check me out at Coach Mike Jones, the coach with the most. And then you guys can check me out at Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter at Coach Mike Jones. Don't forget to check out the Real School Army and the NGW Green Room for hundreds of interviews from celebrities all over the world. Also, you can check me out at Turnbuckle Turmoil on Blog Talk Radio every Sunday at 1 Pacific with Sign Guy. And then my show, the Coach Mike Jones Show podcast, every Saturday at noon Pacific. And just so grateful for all you guys. Thank you for all the feedback, all the love and support and questions you send in. And just thank you, Seattle Sports Union, Abe and Brian and all the people behind the scenes. And I can't wait to meet you guys personally. We're going to have to do that here real soon.
Definitely. Coming up here in a few weeks, we'll be meeting up with you.
Exactly.
To close out the show, I just want to thank you again, Coach Mike, for joining us on our weekly Seattle Sports Union podcast. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and even we have a YouTube channel. We're pretty much nice guys, just all having fun talking sports. And our Twitter page is at SailSportsU. Also follow me, the Soul Man at Soulman156. I'd love to have some more followers and get to know you. I'm also on Facebook. Check out our newly redesigned website. Thank you, Matthew Page, at www.salesportunity.com. And just keep listening to us on our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Captivate FM, and now we are on North Beach Community TV, channel 68, every Saturday at 11 a.m. over in Ocean Shores. Once again, I got to give you another shout out, Coach Mike, again. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and listen to your shows. And we're very grateful and blessed. On behalf of Abraham DeWeese, our producer, my name is Brian the Soulman Solack. Have a good night and go Mariners.